Hey everyone, get hyped because we have our first official details about the PlayStation 5. Thanks to this posting by the official PlayStation social media accounts, it says get a sneak peek at PlayStation's next generation plans. And this leads us to this article right here. It's an exclusive look from Wired.com as to what to expect from Sony's next generation PlayStation. And I'm totally hyped here. There are so many juicy details within this article, including will we expect PlayStation 5 in 2019, plus some details about the actual specifications and much more. So tons of stuff to go over right now. So let's do this. Let us begin. We're going to start from the very beginning. So let's begin. It says, Mark Cerny would like to get one thing out of the way right now. The video game console that Sony has spent the past 4 years building is no mere upgrade. Goes on to say the following: if history is any guide, it will eventually be dubbed the PlayStation 5. For now, Sony responds to that question and many others with an enigmatic smile. The next-gen console, as it refers to it repeatedly, won't be landing in stores anytime in 2019. A number of studios have been working with it, though, and Sony recently accelerated its development of dev kits so that game creators will have the time they need to adjust its capabilities. As he did with PS4, Cerny acted as lead system architect for the coming system, integrating developers' wishes and his own gaming hopes into something that's much more revolution than evolution. For the more than 90 million people who own PS4s, that's good news indeed. Sony's got a brand new box. I am totally hyped right now. Of course, we're going to be getting into system specifications right now as we continue and move on. But yeah, huge fan of everything related to PlayStation, of course. But yeah, we're on to this part right now. A true generational shift tends to include a few foundational adjustments. A console's CPU and GPU become more powerful, able to deliver previously unattainable graphical fidelity and visual effects. System's memory increases in size and speed, and game files grow to mass, necessitating larger downloads or higher capacity physical media like this. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting right here. It says PlayStation next generation console ticks all those boxes, starting with the AMD chip at the heart of the device. Warning, some alphabet soup follows. The CPU is based on the third generation of AMD's Ryzen line. It contains 8 cores of the game company's new 7nm Zen 2 microarchitecture. The GPU, a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family, will support ray tracing, a technique that models the travel of light to simulate complex interactions in 3D environments. While ray tracing is a staple of Hollywood visual effects and is beginning to worm its way into $10,000 high-end processors, no game console has been able to manage it yet. Yeah, ray tracing technology is extremely impressive, no doubt. And Metro Exodus is one of the games that has ray tracing, and it is absolutely gorgeous. So excited to find out about this ray tracing in the next gen PlayStation 5. Now, it says this: ray tracing's immediate benefits are largely visual because it mimics the way light bounces from one object to object in a scene. Reflective surfaces and refractions through glass and liquid can be rendered much more accurately, even in real time, leading to heightened realism. According to Sony, the applications go beyond graphic implications. If you wanted to run tests to see if the player can hear certain audio sources or if the enemies can hear the player's footsteps, ray tracing is useful for that. It's all the same thing as taking a ray through the environment. Very interesting stuff there for sure. Now, let's keep going here. Of course, we're taking a look at the Horizon Zero Dawn. I can't wait for Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Man, just bring on the details. So, as we move on here, it goes on to say the following. So let's keep going right here. Goes on to say the following right here. The AMD chip also includes a custom unit for 3D audio that Sony thinks will redefine what sound can do in a video game. As a gamer, it's been a little bit of a frustration that the audio did not change too much between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. With the next generation console, the dream is to show how dramatically different the audio experience can be when we apply significant amounts of hardware horsepower to it. Now it goes on to say the result. Now the article goes on to say the result, Cerny says, will make you feel more immersed in the game as it sounds come at you from above, behind, and from the side. While the effect will require no external hardware, it will work through TV speakers and visual surround sound. He allows that the gold standard will be headphone audio. Now, he goes on to say this. One of the words Sony used to describe the audio may be familiar to those who follow virtual reality: presence, that the feeling of existing inside a simulated environment. When he mentions it, I asked him about PlayStation VR, the peripheral system that has sold more than 4 million units since 2016's release. Specifically, I asked if there will be a next-gen PSVR to go alongside this next-gen console. I won't go into the details of our VR strategy today, beyond saying that VR is very important to us and that the current PSVR headset is compatible with the new console. Great to know there. So if you invested in the PSVR previously, it's not going to go to waste with this new console. So that's really good news. So it goes on to say this. So new GPU, new CPU, new GPU, the ability to deliver unprecedented visual and audio effects in a game, and maybe a PSVR sequel at some point. That's all great. But there's something else that excites Sony even more, something that he calls a true game changer, something that more than anything else is the key to the next generation. It's a hard drive. So let's take a look at what they have to say about this one, shall we? So it goes on to say the following right here. It says, the larger a game gets, like last year's Red Dead Redemption 2 clocked in at a horse-choking 99 gigabytes for the PS4, the longer it takes to do just about everything. Loading screens can last minutes while the game pulls what it needs to from the hard drive. Same goes for the fast travel when characters transport between far-flung points within a game world. Even opening a door can take over a minute, depending on what's on the other side and how much more data the game needs to load. Starting in the fall of 2015, when Sony first began talking to developers about what they wanted from the next generation, he heard it time and time again. I know it's impossible, but can we have an SSD? So great question there for sure. So let's talk about solid-state drives. So it says this: solid-state drives have been available in budget laptops for more than a decade, and the Xbox One and PS4 both offer external SSDs that claim to improve load times, but not all SSDs are created alike. As Sony points out, I have an SSD in my laptop, and when I want to change from Excel to Word, I can wait 15 seconds. What's built into Sony's next-gen console is something a little more specialized, and this is what it goes on to say right here. It says, to demonstrate, Sony fires up a PS4 Pro playing Spider-Man, a 2018 PS4 exclusive that he worked alongside Insomniac Games. He's not just an systems architect. Sony created arcade classic Marble Madness, where he was all of 19 and was heavily involved with PlayStation and PlayStation 2 franchises like Crash Bandicoot. On the TV, Spidey stands in a small plaza as Sony presses a button on the controller, initiating a fast travel astral screen, I believe it is. Then it says, when Spidey reappears in a totally different spot in Manhattan, 15 seconds have elapsed. Then Sony does the same thing on a next-gen dev kit connected to a different TV. The dev kit, an early low-speed version, is concealed in a big silver tower with no visible componentry. What took 15 seconds now takes less than 1 second to be exact. So that's really impressive. Well, actually it says 0.8 seconds to be exact. So you can see how impressive the load times have gotten with the PlayStation 5. Now, it goes on to say this: that's just one consequence of an SSD. There's also the speed with which a world can be rendered, and thus the speed with which a character can move through the world. Sony runs a similar two-console demonstration, this time with the camera moving up one of Midtown's avenues on the original PlayStation 4. The camera moves about at the speed Spidey hits while web-slinging. No matter how powered up you get as Spider-Man, you can never go any faster than this, because that's simply how fast we can get the data off the hard drive. On the next-gen console, the camera speeds up down like it's mounted to a fighter jet. Periodically, Sony pauses the action to prove that the surrounding environment remains perfectly crisp. While the next-gen console will support 8K graphics, TVs that deliver it are far and few between, so we're using a 4K TV. So yes, this console can support up to 8K graphics, which is absolutely madness and certainly unrealistic at the beginning of that console's lifespan for sure. Now, it goes on to say this: What else developers will be able to do is a question Sony can't answer yet, because those developers are still figuring it all out, but he sees the SSD as unlocking an entirely new age, one that upends the very tropes that have upends the very tropes that have become the bedrock of gaming. He goes on to say the following: "We're very used to flying logos at the start of the game in graphic-heavy selection screens. Even things like multiplayer lobbies and intentionally detailed loadout processes, because you don't want players to be waiting." End quote. Now, it says this furthermore: "At the moment, Sony won't cop to exact details about the SSD, who makes it, whether it utilizes the new PCIe 4 standard, but Sony claims that it has a raw bandwidth higher than any SSD available for PCs. That's not all." He goes on to say the following: "The raw read speed is important, but so are the details of the I/O input-output mechanisms and the software stack that we put on top of them. I got the PlayStation 4 Pro, and then I put in an SSD that costs as much as the PlayStation 4 Pro. It might be 1/3 faster." Nice. End quote. It says, as opposed to 19 times faster for the next-gen console, judging from the fast travel demo. Holy cow. That is one fast hard drive for sure. Now, the article goes on to say the following: "As you've noticed, this is all hardware talk. Sony isn't ready to chat about services or other features, let alone games and price, and neither is anyone at Sony, nor will you hear much about the console at E3 in June. For the first time, Sony won't be holding a keynote at the annual game show, but a few more things come out during the course of our conversation. For example, the next-gen console will still accept physical media. It won't be a download-only machine because it's based in part on the PlayStation 4's architecture. It will also be backward compatible with games for that console. As in many other generational transitions, this will be a gentle one, with numerous new games being released for both PlayStation 4 and the next-gen console. Where exactly Hideo Kojima's forthcoming title Death Stranding fits in that process is still unconfirmed. When asked, a spokesperson in the room repeated that the game would be released for PlayStation 4, but Cerny's smile and pregnant pause invites speculation that it will in fact be a two-platform release." Interesting. And yeah, you know, there's going to be games that I expect to re-release, of course, with upgraded visuals down the road. And I think Cyberpunk is going to be interesting. Cyberpunk 2077, that's the one I'm really looking to, because I know that that one's kind of prepped for next-gen consoles for sure. Now, let's see what else it goes on to say. So the article's wrapping up here. It says, "What gaming will look like in a year or two, let alone 10, is a matter of some debate. Battle Royale games have reshaped multiplayer experiences. Augmented reality marries the fantastic and real unprecedented ways. Google is leading a charge away from traditional consoles by launching a cloud gaming service, Stadia." Yeah, that's a really good point. You got to keep your eye on Google, of course. And then they say this: "Microsoft's next version of the Xbox will presumably integrate cloud gaming as well to allow players to play Xbox games on multiple devices. Sony's plans in this regard are still unclear. It's one of the many things Sony is keeping mum on, saying only that we are cloud gaming pioneers and our vision should become clear as we head towards launch, but it's hard to think that there won't be more news coming on that front." So that's the end of the article. Great stuff there. So hyped for the PlayStation 5 for sure. I cannot freaking wait. I mean, just look at all the games they have here. Uncharted franchise. I wish they would continue that, honestly, and return to it. Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War. I know I'm missing some. I mean, Days Gone is coming up here. The Last of Us 2. Their library is so impressive. Now, I did hear rumors that they are going to be more focused on multiplayer on PlayStation 5, which kind of worries me. I hope they just keep doing what they're doing, but I don't think they're going to let down the single-player audience going forward at all. But guys, stay tuned here for more about the PlayStation 5 and other gaming news. Of course, I'm covering all things open world games. I'm covering Borderlands 3, Cyberpunk 2077, anything related to Ubisoft, EA. You guys, I have you all covered with the open world game stuff and the PlayStation 5. So stay tuned. Thank you all so much for the love and support on the videos. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.